All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Discovering Multifamily podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Scandariato, and today we have a special guest with us, Rafi Mizrahi, and he's joining us because he is an interesting guy. He actually decided to shift his focus. He was buying single-family homes in the United States from Israel, actually, with the goal of not to travel for every property bought. So in 2010, he actually decided to start buying houses. But, he realized that it's a big headache when you're dealing with fix and flips and wholesaling and even buying holds on the single family side. And then he actually ended up transitioning into multifamily. So he's got a fascinating story and he's got a lot of reasons behind why he chose to transition and would love to hear about it. And he's a really interesting guy. Rafi, why don't you just kind of give a brief overview of you and your story, and how did you get into real estate in general, and then maybe get into the
Yeah,
multifamily and houses that you started to buy.
sure. First, thank you, Anthony, for the opportunity to share my story and bring value to people. I'm here to give inspiration and also to give my angle to real estate investing in the States. Americans always say Americans take for granted real estate investing, but they don't know how fortunate they are to have um, so many niche in real estate, and they can try so many things and quit their job or replace their job with a passive income from so many vehicles in the real estate. I'm glad to share my angle on that.
Great. And
So
okay.
yeah, sorry. And you asked me about myself, so I will introduce myself. I'm 45. Married, 2 kids, live in Israel, in Tel Aviv. I've been introduced to real estate because I was fired like 13 years ago. I didn't find any job, and read Rich Dad Poor Dad, like a lot of real estate investors. That it blew my mind, and I decided that I want to start the journey. I started buying in Israel, and Israel is a very small market. The land is very expensive, and the competition is very high in Israel. So if you think about it, it's 8 million people in a country. So if it's a hot market, you don't have so much inventory, right? So after 2 years, I decided to buy in the U.S. and started buying houses. I did more than 300 transactions. I did fix and flip, wholesaling, buy and hold as a passive investors myself, and shifted in 2018 to multifamily, passive and active. I syndicated 6 deals and invested also in the deals myself, 766 units. That's a short background about my story.
That's great. So you had a career in IT, decided, with the layoffs, why even go back to the corporate world? Let me try to
Yeah.
do real estate, and you kind of springboarded from there. That's great. So talk to us about the single family. Why was it such a pain in the ass for you? I mean, it sounds like you
So
did a lot of transactions and you were making a lot of good money from what it sounds like.
sorry
Why?
about sorry about the noise. The kids just came home. So
No problem. Why make the transition?
so you know I, as an active investors, I felt like the um, the scale is harder. So I thought to myself, as an active investor, how can you start buying houses in worth of 50 million? In multifamily, you can do it in a few deals, right? In single family homes, it's very hard. That's from an active. From a passive investor, because I was also buying houses as buy and hold, the problem was the management companies. The management companies, you pay them 8%, 8 to 10%, started to be 10% at the last few years. And You pay them 10% and they are doing, most of them, sorry if I'm offending anybody, but horrible job. And the reason they were doing horrible job because it's hard, it's not enough money to earn as a management company, right? To fund all the employees and everything. So they have to get, also earn from, work orders. So they have a lot of work orders, so I felt like it's not a good strategy. I did like single family home from from buying in 2008, 11, 12, 13, when the market was low, right? So, it was a good time and just buy it and, wait for the prices to go up. But today's, I don't see any advantage, although the market is very hard and properties are being sold quickly, but the value doesn't go up as before. So that's why I switched as an active scale and as a passive. The management companies in multifamily is much more easier to find a professional management company.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. So talk to us a little bit about your multifamily portfolio and what you have worked on and what you're working on, anything you're working on. I'd love to hear about that.
Sure. So I'm looking at BNC neighborhoods, mostly working in BNC neighborhoods in Georgia, mainly. That's the market, in Atlanta and Treasure markets, up to $20 million. That's kind of the price point where we are looking. Value add, high value add, light value add. We don't look for anything with 50% occupied. We don't do that. So that's kind of the strategy. We have investors who are looking for 15% IRR. That's what they are looking for, with at least 8 cash on cash. So that's what we are working on those days.
Great. So what was your first multifamily deal, as opposed to when you got out of the single family space? How many units was it? Was it hard to transition? Talk about that a little bit.
So it was around 150 units in Gainesville. And I actually was a co-sponsor on the deal because I didn't have the track record. So I joined another lead sponsor, and I raised the funds for that from Israeli investors. And this way I got a track record. That was the way to get into the multifamily space. One of the things that I've noticed I've been doing single family for so long, nobody cared about the track record, right? But in multifamily space, they care. So that's why I was looking to raise funds to get some track record as a co-sponsor. I think even as passive, it's always give you also some track record, not as the same, but also give you a track record. So that was the first deal. I didn't find it myself, just proposed to join, did the underwriting, which is very crucial, I think, also for the listeners, if they are passive investors, to learn how to underwrite a deal themselves, to look where, so they can see if a plan, a business plan is aggressive or it's conservative or the assumptions are right. So that's what I did. I started first by learning how to underwrite, and then joined the group to join the syndication as a co-sponsor by raising funds.
Got it. So the first one was a co-sponsor deal in Greenville, and are you still in that deal, or is
yes?
Okay.
Yeah. It was 3 years ago, so we have 2 more years. We're probably going to sell in 2 years from now.
Excellent. So once you did your first deal, how easy was it to do your second deal? Was that one on your own without a lead sponsor? How does that process work?
So this gave me more confidence to look at to talk with brokers and submit offers. So I started submitting more offers. But I didn't get a deal. I joined another deal as a co-sponsor. And again, it kept my track record, and I made money on that, and by investing in the deal too. On the third deal, third deal, I'm the one who sourced it myself through a broker who knew my track record, knew I was raising funds on the other deals, and I'm involved. And by the way, as the one who raised funds, I'm also doing the asset management myself with the co-sponsor. It's not like I'm raising funds and I'm out. I read the weekly reports and the monthly reports, ask questions, and involved in the asset management process. So
right, and that's very important because you have to keep. If you're raising funds, you have to keep your own investors informed too. Even if they're not asking, it's always good to just keep people informed.
Yeah. And I like, what can I say? I like control. So even if I'm not the lead sponsor, I still want to be in control. I want to know what's going on, and and ask question and respond. I'm responsible for my investors' money, so I take care of them.
Excellent. So what happened to your single family portfolio? Did you sell it? Do you still own it?
Yeah, no, I sold it. I did buy and hold, and I did wholesaling and fix and flip. So the first step was to stop doing fix and flip and wholesaling. I wanted to focus all in multifamily, and started to sell the single family houses that I
Did
own.
you sell them one by one or as a portfolio?
No, I sell them one by one. Yeah, I think it's maybe a more complex situation, but you can get most on your money when you sell one by one.
And how long did it take you to divest that portfolio if you went transaction to transaction to transaction?
About a year. The market is started to be very hot in 2019 already. So, and 2020 is even crazier than the single family home. You put a property on the market, and it sells for over asking, non-refundable. It's crazy.
Craziness. And so what's on the horizon for you in your multifamily journey moving forward?
I think I will keep on sourcing deals. I'm underwriting 2 to 3 deals a day. We make 1 to 2 LOIs a week. It's hard to get a good deal with good numbers those days, especially in a hot market like Atlanta. So I focus also on treasury markets, which are not only on Atlanta. Atlanta is very hot. I underwrite and submit offers in Atlanta, but I know my chances are lower than submitting in a treasury market like Gainesville. Gainesville is a treasury market in Atlanta.
Right. And so how can people find out about you and set up a one-to-one with you? How does that work? What's the best way for people to reach you?
So people can find my company name is Proud Communities. They can search online Proud Communities, and they will find my website. I have a calendar option to set up a call. I'm a guy who like to be available for people, no matter what, how busy I am. I always find time for people, so they can reach out, any question, any help they are looking to get. I'm here.
Excellent. And we'll have a link to Rafi's social media and his website and all his information, including the scheduling link on our social media platforms and on our iTunes description. And if you liked what you heard and or saw today, if you can please leave us a rating and review on iTunes, it would really help Rafi and myself get our message out to a greater audience. So we would appreciate that. And thank you so much for coming on. I'm looking forward to hearing about your next deal and how the rest of 2021 shapes out for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.